All right. Well, cheers, everybody. Welcome to Sips and Scripts, the podcast that brings together the best of both worlds cocktails and movies. We'll dive into an all time favorite film or explore some of the latest releases, and we'll always pair it with a delicious cocktail while we share our thoughts, opinions, and some fascinating behind the scenes trivia. I am Kirsten Jackson, and I am a blogger and cocktail influencer at lowcountrysocialite.com.
And my name is Terrell Bernard, and got some cool stuff.
That's all you got for us?
Yeah.
Your sound is down really low.
So is it better now?
Yeah, were you not talking into your mic?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
You might do this.
You gotta talk into your mic, broski.
Got you.
So anyway, yes, we have been so excited to share this movie that we are going to do, and it has been chaos the whole entire way.
Yeah. It's like they don't want us to do this. They don't want us to. They don't want us to win.
So you got to get in frame.
Better? Okay, that's better.
Yeah, but now you're not on your mic.
Okay.
Man, it's like the technical difficulties abound.
Yep. All right, hold on.
Someone's got new equipment over there. Money, money.
Birthday.
Yes.
All right. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
All right. Okay,
Yeah,
we should be good. All right, perfect. All right,
okay.
So today we're talking about a movie that came out on Netflix a few weeks ago by the name of The Deliverance. It's a 2024 American supernatural horror film directed by Lee Daniels. So before we jump into this film, how about we go over a little bit of our history with the film or with actors, actresses, directors, whatever you want to talk about. How you want to give you some history. This is kind of brand new.
Well, my history with the film is that so I have now seen this movie a whopping 4 times, and I'm tired of watching it. The sacrifices that we make for you guys.
This was my third time. And I was like,
So you got to speak up.
I said this was my third time, and I was like, nah, no thanks. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not so much that it was a bad movie. It's just, it's not something I would watch over and over again. But I did to like prepare because we tried to go live last week, and then so after a week you got to watch it again to refresh yourself. So I'm like, okay, all right, let's go ahead and get this road on the show.
Not the road on the show.
I'll get the road on the show. So, but yeah, so I watched it when it came out to Netflix. I didn't even know that it went to theaters. Apparently, it went to theaters like maybe only 15 days before it was released on streaming. Right. So I didn't know it was in theaters, but everybody was talking about this, the certain scenes in the movies, and it was, in the movie. And I was like, let me go see this before Facebook just ruins it and gives out a spoiler. So.
Wasn't much to spoil, but I feel you.
Huh?
So it wasn't much to spoil, but I feel you.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, you kind of know where the film is headed. It's a typical possession film, but also not typical, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah. So but yeah. But so what is your history with the film, or if you haven't already shared it?
Oh yeah, well I was what was I doing? Oh, I was on Netflix looking for something to watch, and then I was like, oh, it's a new movie. I saw black people, so I was like, let me see what they talking about because I hadn't heard anything about the film at all whatsoever. So I I put on the preview, and it was showing me little clips from the film, and I was like, this is supposed to be a horror film. I was like, nothing horror is just happening, and then I was like, whatever, I'll still check it out. So watched it, and yeah, it was a film.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk more about it in a minute. But first, we can do the 60-second recap challenge.
I was hoping you would forget.
Mm-mm. No, I'm not going to forget.
Ah, man. Okay, well, it looks like I am tasked with the 60-minute, 60 minutes
Yeah,
recap.
60, do a 60-minute recap.
Unfortunately,
I'm out of here. You're going to be on your own.
the 60-second recap. So whoever is not hosting is responsible for the 60-second recap. So it looks like it's me. So I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and I'm going to try and give you the best recap of this film in 60 seconds that I can. Okay?
All right.
All right. Okay, so this film is basically a possession film, like think Exorcist, but black. And so we start off with Ebony, who is a single mom, or is she single? That's also questionable. So, but she's also slightly abusive, if that's a thing, to her three children. Yes, she had two.
Three. She had three.
Three children. That's right. Two boys and a girl. So anyway, so she moves into this new house, and apparently there's like an old ancient legion of demons living there, and they slowly start possessing the younger son, and then through him, the legion also affects the older kids. And so this is basically this black mother's fight to release the demons from her children before they just destroy her life, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. Because that was good. Hey, man.
Well, hey, I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Well, before we tip the waitress, let's see, what are we sipping on today? What's the cocktail?
Yes, it is time for a cocktail. So I was racking my brain, like I was getting my hair done, and we were talking about like they were like, what are you going to make for the cocktail for the Deliverance? And I was like, I don't know, it's got to be something scary, or not scary, but at least scary. So anyway, so settled on this drink called Possession Punch, and we're gonna make it together. Okay.
All right.
All
Let's
right.
get it.
So we are going to start off with some ice in our shaker. So I have our trusty shaker here, ready, steady.
All right. All right.
And we are going to fill our shaker with ice. All right. So Possession Punch calls for 2 ounces of dark rum. So we are using Bacardi Black.
Okay.
And we are going to pour 2 ounces. All right. All right. To try to get on frame. All right. And then it also calls for 4 ounces of pineapple juice.
Okay.
Pineapple juice is always good. And then 1/2 ounce of grenadine, our with its signature red color. It's going to give us our red color for our punch. And we're going to use 1/2 ounce. Boop. And then, last but not least, we're going to use 1/2 ounce of some lime juice. And I'm using just some real lime. All right, so that's our 1/2 ounce. So yes, 2 ounces of dark rum, 4 ounces of pineapple juice, 1/2 ounce of grenadine, 1/2 ounce of lime. Put the top on our shaker. And give it a shake. And then we are using a highball glass, so a tall glass. So we're going to fill with ice. All right. Shake again. Take the top off our shaker and strain. So we get our nice red punch.
Okay.
And we're going to garnish with a cocktail cherry. And already steady, a dehydrated lime wheel.
Yep, that's you all day.
All day, baby.
Keeping them in business. They're like, oh, we had no orders. I'm like, oh,
It's
here
the
comes
little
Thursday.
things, you
She's
know?
gonna hook us up.
Yes. All right. So here we go. We have our possession punch.
We got a comment that says, I demand you make this next time we are together. That sounds delicious.
I got you. Let's taste it and make sure it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Okay.
All right. We're ready for our movie.
Yeah, let's go. Let's see. All right. So, a little bit about the Deliverance. Like I said before, it is a 2024 American supernatural horror film directed by Lee Daniels, written by Dave Cogshell and Elijah Bynum. And it's inspired by the Amos haunting case, but they changed all the names. And I believe they changed they might have changed the location, but the location might be the same, but they changed the names to protect them from foolishness because this movie is fiction.
Okay.
Inspired by true events, they say, but okay. They took a lot of creative licenses with this film. And it stars Andra Day, Glenn Close. Ooh, I'm about to mess his name up. Anju Ellis.
Anjanae Ellis.
Anjanae
How do you not know
Ellis.
Anjanae Ellis?
I don't. What was she in?
She's incredible. She was
She's in Orange is the New Black.
Orange is
Is she in that?
No. I think you're thinking about Uzu Adobu. She was in Ray, so she played Marianne in Ray.
Oh, okay.
She was in Lovecraft Country. She was in. I know she was in True Blood, but only for a little while. It's
funny. I've seen almost all of this stuff you just said, and I don't remember who she is. But okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what she would be in that you would really know. She was in the Clark Sisters movie.
Who was she in the Clark Sisters? Who was she in that movie?
She was the mom, Patty Moss.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm familiar with her work. I like that movie. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
my bad.
The Help.
I was sleeping. Now I'm awake.
Oh
Oh, and
Lord.
also with Monique, the return of Monique and Lee Daniels back together again, doing movies.
Yes, after that, they had a very public falling out, like very
Mm-hmm.
public. So, yes, Lee Daniels and Monique back together again,
It was good to see him.
reunited, and it feels so good.
I will say, yeah, it did. I'm not even gonna stunt. It was really good.
Yeah. So,
So let's go ahead and jump on into this film.
yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the budget. So apparently, Netflix was in like a bidding war for the rights to this film, and I
Really?
think, yeah, that they settled on like 65 million, I believe it was.
Okay.
But the budget to make the film was 30 million. So, but we don't have a like an ending gross because I don't know that streaming thing is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, so we just know that the budget is was 30 million. So I do wonder how it did overall, but I know the Rotten Tomatoes was 30, and I meant to check it again. It was 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's for the critic reviews.
Hmm.
Um, so that's not that great. But you know, sometimes they can change over time.
Oh, it went up to 32. 32, and let's see. What did the audience score was a 42.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, this film has some very mixed reviews. Like I have been seeing people on my timeline like really liking it. Some people are like, oh, it sucks. But for the most part, from what I saw on my timeline,
Mhm.
people were enjoying the film. They thought that it was funny and shocking and all that stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
But
I thought I
how
didn't see much on my timeline about this film. I don't know. This was like one that like I guess flew under the radar.
I don't know
I
how it
mean,
could have for you. Like it was
people say
everywhere on my timeline.
only thing I heard about it is people was like, it was a film. It was basic. People, it was like it wasn't really getting much love. It wasn't getting hate, but it wasn't getting any love like I thought it should. I mean,
Hmm.
it's
Well, I mean, I think that, and we'll talk about this too. Like the decision to put Glenn Close in the film, like really was shocking to a lot of people. And I think that is like some of the scenes that Glenn Close was in. That was what a lot of people were sharing, and
mhm.
yeah, yeah, decisions were made.
Yes, they were. I was actually surprised to see Glenn Close in this film. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That was that was mighty shocking. Like, okay, hmm, Glenn Close.
Yeah, that was surprising, but it worked, and or at least it did what it was supposed to do. Now,
Right.
because I one of my questions for you is like, do you feel that Glenn Close's character was necessary, or was Glenn Close necessary?
I mean, I see why Glenn Close was in the film, but necessary? Mm, actually, yeah, I think she was necessary. Because toward the end of the film, um, she comes back again after she's gone from the film, and she delivered some very timeless lines that people probably be saying for years and years to come.
That's why I'm like, I don't understand how this escaped your timeline because people that whole nappy pussy thing was all over the timeline, and it still is not quite as much. But when
Yeah,
it first came out, like people were sharing memes and quoting it, and it was like, okay.
yeah. When I heard, I was like, "Oh, that's a weird thing to say."
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that's what you smell. That's what you smell.
Yes.
How about you?
I feel like so the reason why I asked that was because one of the like articles I was reading, they were talking about how Lee Daniels was talking about the character. Alberta. That was the mom's name,
Mhm.
Alberta, who Glenn Close played. And he was quoted as saying that this type of white woman is the fabric of the Black community, is in the fabric, woven in the fabric of the Black
Oh,
community.
okay.
And some people were saying, yeah, that's true, because even in like heavily Black communities, there are like some white women that just are there and they are married into it, and that's just how it is. But then they were saying some people were like, uh, that's a stretch to say that white women like this are the part of the fabric of the Black community. Um, my opinion is that I don't necessarily think they are part of the fabric of the Black community, but I do think that they are there, obviously there, but they are visitors and they are guests and should act accordingly. Um, so yeah, I think that they are guests in the Black community, and this type of white woman obviously does exist, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah. So as far as Glenn Close, I think it was such a smart strategic move to put her, because she's like, will we necessarily classify her as an A-list actor? I mean, but she's
Yeah.
not. She's
I think people will put her there because she's like you say the name. People are like, oh, you might not know what she looks like, but you know the name. Like, oh, you heard of Glenn Close.
right,
And white
right.
people definitely have heard of Glenn Close. They're like, yeah, we love Glenn Close. What is she doing in this movie?
I think that it was an interesting opportunity for her to flex her acting chops. Like, she delivered a very compelling and believable performance.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
as far as my untrained cinematic eye, but yeah, I think she delivered it well. It was very believable. Um, you could believe that she had a Black daughter, and I mean, they had her sitting there sewing in weave, and like
Mhm.
it was very interesting, and it looked pretty damn authentic. So I think it was very interesting and strategic to put her in that role. It was a fresh way of seeing Glenn Close. And I think it's a testament to how good of an actress she is, because she delivered that role pretty well, and she didn't just phone it in. Like, she was pretty gritty, and yeah.
Yeah, I'll give her that. I will give her that.
But and I would consider her. I don't know if I would say she's an A. Well, maybe so, but I know she's definitely part of like Hollywood old school royalty. Like, people know who Glenn Close is. Like,
Right.
she is a name. People know who Sandra Bullock is. People know who Glenn Close is. People know who Bette Midler is. Like, those are like, like the older white women of Hollywood that people know.
You can put Sandra Bullock in there. Sandra Bullock.
Well, no, well, I didn't mean to say Sandra Bullock. She is older though.
I mean, but she not that old. Glenn Close
She
like
not like,
in her 70s.
no. I'm sorry. That was, I just meant to say her name is
Oh, gotcha.
but no, but like, as far as like Diane Keaton and Goldie Hawn, like Glenn Close, like that group of white women that from Hollywood that are respected
Right.
actresses. So but yeah. Um but I do think it was very, very smart to put her in there. So yeah. Uh
Got a question for you.
all right.
We all know Lee Daniels, the director. He does drama well. I believe he does drama well. But how do you think he handled the horror part of the film? Because this was very dramatic, and if this was only dramatic, I would have watched it and just been fine. If it was only a drama about this family and their struggles with the mother and the grandmother and the kids, I would have watched that. That was a compelling story to me. But when they threw in that horror element, how do you feel he directed that, or how he got through that to make the film? How do you feel about that?
Okay. Well, you answered and then throw.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, he does drama very well. The horror that was a little lacking in my opinion. It was kind of like stuff we'd already seen before, tropes that you usually see in horror films. You got the possession, you got the stuff going to the flies. It was like paint by numbers, pretty much. It was like, first you do this, then you do this, then you do that, then we got to get the demon out, and then the only thing that really saved it was the writing. I think it was some really good writing, but just the stuff that was happening, you was like, I've seen this before. Oh, I'm gonna break down and climb up a wall. Seen that before. Flip backwards and do a karate kick. I've seen that before. So it wasn't anything that I was like, oh, he brought something fresh and new to the horror genre. So what do you think about Mr. Lee Daniels?
Okay. So I think that because he has such a strong like background with like very dramatic roles, I think that it's very evident in this film that he didn't necessarily rely on a lot of visual effects. We didn't get that stuff until like the end. And to me, that made this almost like it was like a thriller that then kind of like graduated into a horror film. So and I think that there are pros and cons with that. And I will say the first con for me, and this is just my personal opinion, but he leans on a lot of dramatic stuff. So this movie was just a little too long for a horror film.
Yeah.
Usually, usually horror films they are an hour and a half tight.
And
that's and that's it. But this film is almost 2 hours long.
Right.
And so there was like a lot of dramatic buildup, and like the movie was very slow in the beginning. And I understand like you need that kind of stuff for dramas because you have to.
That's all you got. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's build up. But usually for a horror movie, people like to boom get in there. You can start off a tiny bit slow, but then people want action, and so this juxtaposition between like drama and horror. I guess that will work for some people. For me, I didn't care for it. It wouldn't be the typical film that I would like. But for some people, that dramatic build up and then a fiery finish, maybe that's enjoyable for people. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't typically my thing. Because I remember I was sitting in the chair and it took me a while to get through the film for the first watch. I kept stopping it because I was like, there's not really not a lot of action going on. And I get that you have to have some world building and character development and all of that stuff. I get it. But it was like a drama movie with a big horror finish, and it was not really my cup of tea, that kind of thing. But
to each his own. Hey, if you loved it, if you liked it, good for you. It was okay in my book, but it wasn't the one. Like if I since I've seen it 3 times, we'll never watch it again. Not because I hate it, but just because I don't need to watch it again.
Yeah, really, drama films aren't films that I watch over and over again.
I think I've seen, out of all the movies I've seen by Lee Daniels, I've only seen them once. Like Precious, only saw it once. The Butler, only saw it once. Just like it was one and done. I'm like,
they're very heavy films.
Yeah, exactly.
They are very heavy films. Like I've seen The Butler once, and I let me see. Look, what are some of his others? I've seen Monsters Ball once.
Oh, he did. I didn't know he did Monsters Ball. I've seen that once.
Yeah, it was produced by Lee Daniels. I've seen Precious. I've seen Precious twice, but only because
I feel
excuse me.
bad for you.
Huh?
Said I feel bad for you.
I don't know. One night I was like, you know what? 'Cause I think I felt, I came up on like some kind of comment thread. They were talking about Precious, and I was like, I'm gonna rewatch it. But I only seen it twice, and it was like years and years in between. So it was just like watching it again for the first time. But yeah, I've seen that twice. I've seen United States versus Billie Holiday.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent, and we'll talk about Anddddd in a second here, but
Okay.
I've only seen that once because he does very, very heavy films, and this was like it. It was slightly like more, not quite as dramatic as those roles, but this is still a pretty heavy film. And let's talk about one of the reasons why. And this was one of the things that I really did enjoy about this film.
Okay.
So we said in the beginning, and this is one of my questions for you. We said in the beginning that this is basically like a typical possession film, which is fine because possession films are a very popular trope in horror genre. But it was from the Black experience. And I really appreciated that because we don't get a lot of that.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So, like popular films like The Exorcist and Possession of Emily Rose and all that stuff, it's all, you would think that Catholics are the only ones that are like exorcising demons, but Black churches have been doing that for years. Like, but they don't necessarily, it's not this formal thing like, getting approval from
the Vatican and all that stuff.
Yeah, the Vatican, diocese and all that. But and getting but yeah, I've been in a church where like a pastor is like driving out demons. It is very intense.
I would have been like, all right, I'm gonna be in the car.
I didn't know
see y'all later. I would have been like, it's you driving them out. Where you driving them to?
I was like, so the story was I was with my friend and I was visiting. I was at a church with her, and like the pastor was like, just hold your children. It's like telling, and I was just like, I was young, so I was like, like I was like in my 20s, so I'm like, and so like all of a sudden my friend goes very still and very calm and quiet, and I'm like, what's going on? Anyway, and so
you weren't even aware what was going on. You just like,
I was not aware until the end because she. Like I was so the pastor like had them in the, what do you call it, the vestibule, like that part of the church, like the lobby, but it's not the lobby, it's the vestibule, like where you walk in.
Okay.
Before and then you enter the sanctuary. So they were in that, I think it's called vestibule. Anyway, so they were in there, and it was like this visiting church, and all of a sudden, all you could hear is this growling, like, "Arr!" And she's like, the pastor is like laying hands on them, and like it, and I'm like, this is an interesting. I'm thinking like they got the Holy Ghost, but it just went real left, like real wrong. I'm like, that don't sound right, but hey, people sound all types of different ways when they shouting and stuff. So okay. And like, so when I look and they're like backed up against this wall, like writhing and stuff. And I'm like, And I'm like, so afterwards, I'm like, what was that? And she was, yeah, pastor could tell they had a few demons in this visiting church. And I was like, you didn't tell me that was going on? And she was, you were okay. And I was,
really, you were okay?
What?
And I see why you couldn't leave, because if they doing it right there, that's the only way out.
Yeah, you couldn't like step over and like, excuse me, I just need to get in my car.
I gotta left something in my car.
Put my purse on my all right, y'all. Excuse me, I need to just step over here.
Gotta go pick up my extra Bible. I'll be right there.
So yeah, but I say that to say that black people drive out demons too, and for like this movie to show um that perspective of the black experience, and then to also like, because usually with these no typical like white possession films, it's always like some heavy Latin and holy water and stuff, and like black churches don't do that. Like she went to speaking in tongues, and I was like, that
Mhm.
was like such a authentic experience, at least as far as I know, um, of how black people rid like demons. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I also thought it was really, really cool how, because what I thought was gonna happen would be like, because remember we get that scene where Tasha Smith, she plays the pastor, and she's like, we don't do that here. You're gonna have to go to another church.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, okay, looks like we about to get some white savior. Like she gonna have to find the one Catholic cathedral in her town and get the priests, a group of priests to come and help. But no, it was a black woman that helped another black woman. And I was like,
Did
that's
she though?
she did, but she just really failed in the end. And we'll talk about that too. But I'm gonna throw the question to you.
Yep.
What how do you feel about possession from this black perspective and experience?
Okay. The black perspective, I thought it was, I don't know, it's not something I usually see or deal with. I don't usually see people possessed.
Yeah, typically
Um,
because in our church, like that is what would have happened if she went to our church. They would have been like, we don't do that.
yeah, pretty much like, we got some food for you. We got some, we gonna feed you. We got a gym.
Yeah.
Gonna hook
And
you
and
up.
feel free to take home one of these fresh new green New Testament Bibles. But other than
Exactly.
that, yeah, do
Can't
that.
do nothing for you. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to be like, oh, that's feels like it was real to me. I was like, all I know is that lady failed. That's what was like, you you was stalking these people for weeks.
She really was.
They
And like
finally tap you in to get some help, and then you was like, I can't do it. And then you die.
that that was, gosh, that was so unfortunate. Like, I really wish that we could have had a scene where she was triumphant. But I
That was her
guess,
second failure. 2 times. She failed twice.
yes.
And that's
But
why I was
no,
like,
but okay.
call somebody else. Like, get
But
some help.
she did need help. Now that was something that I was like, you know what? Even the priests don't go in by themselves. Priests would go get Father such and such and tell him you need
We
this.
need one
Like,
more. We could tag team. We can't do this alone.
yeah. So like that, she should have won. She shouldn't have tried to take that on by herself. A big old scary ancient demon and with legions behind him. Come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that she should have had a team.
But she
But
made it seem
I'm not
like, I
gonna say that
don't
she
know.
failed though. I mean, she did do the ultimate big
I was
dive.
saying, if you failed, if you went there to do something and you didn't do it, and then you ended up dying before you could finish doing it, so that's an L. You took
Okay,
an
but
L.
fair. Okay, but fair enough. Now she did die. However, she did empower Ebony because Ebony was a non-believer. Like she was, and what had a crutch, like not a crutch, but a chip on her shoulder about religion. So
Right.
she took Ebony, and who was a non-believer, turned her into a believer that spoke in tongues and was able to exercise this entity out of her son.
Which
So
makes it even worse But the other lady, you took this lady who was like, I don't even believe in none of this stuff. And then you was like, all right, this round two, I'm gonna get him this time. And then next thing you know, you die. The rookie come in and save the day. You like,
Yeah, now, yeah, you got showed up by an amateur, so there's that. But I do think that it is just a testament to how strong and how deep you will go for your children. So like she was a complete non-believer, and by the end of it, she's speaking tongues, and so yeah.
pretty miraculous. I mean,
So it was a partial win and a partial fail. How about that? Can we agree that it was a partial victory? Not a flawless finish, but a partial victory.
yeah, she got about 25% of that victory.
Dang, I would at least give her about 42.
42.
42. What? But anyway, that's very weird. A very weird comment. But anyway, so yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I just feel like the film showing like the black side of this, because it does happen to Black people as reported, because this is based on a true story.
Is it though?
Or a true, it's based on real people. How about that? Is that safer to say?
No, this movie was like, we gonna take this family, we gonna totally hijack everything that happened and just leave a little bit of what happened so we can tell this compelling story. Because like I look after the movie, I was like, I'm interested because I never heard of her story. With the Amons family.
Right. I think it's
I
Latoya Amons or something like that.
Yeah, I had never heard of the story before. So I went on YouTube and I saw a documentary, and it was like I saw the house. I was like, this ain't the same house at all. Like this ain't even a replica house. Like this was like a little box house just on the corner somewhere. And in the movie, it's like this sprawling, got stairs and everything. Like this was like a single family home, but like you couldn't put a single family in it. It wasn't not a room in the house from what I could see. And it was like it was called the 200 Demon House because there was so many possessions or so many evil spirits in that house that they tried to exorcise. And I'm like, they could have went a totally different way with this. Cause like, I'm sorry, 200 demons, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. If you told me the name of the movie 200 demons, I'd be like, see this. I got to see what's going on. 200?
That actually is a better name of the film, because I would have been like, I don't know what that means. But anyway, that actually is a lot. And that would have been a better name for the film, and I would have been like, that sounds like it's gonna be real scary. But then we would have tuned into a drama show, and I'm like, where the demons at?
Yeah, because I was wondering. I was like, when did the demons possess the other kids? Like they really didn't show too many symptoms of being possessed until like they were all separated.
That was very
all at school.
Yeah, that was very unclear. Like them showing that it was basically like possession through the younger boy, but then they were also like controlling the older kids, and that was very strange and a little unclear. And I guess like I've heard people explaining like, oh, there was a legion and but the big boss was in control, and it's like and then the interesting thing is that wasn't explained very well, so you would have to kind of just know about like legions and all that stuff to rationalize that, but it wasn't hold on just a second. Okay. All right. So anyway, But yeah,
Thank you
it
for
was,
joining us.
huh?
I said, thank you for joining us.
Yes. But yeah, it just that was not very clear. Okay, so we have someone. It was very unclear. Basically, the movie wasn't just it. There were so many things missing. Absolutely, there
Yeah, it
there there
was.
was a lot of missing things, and especially the this what was her, evangelist Bernice or something, Apostle Bernice.
Yeah,
She
she
was
was
missing
like,
a
yeah,
team, and she needed a team.
she needed more than a team. She was like, I was like, I just, I don't know. I was just, it, and my thing was, this wasn't even scary. I was waiting for it to get scary. It was more like things would happen. Like the scariest thing that happened was I can't even think of anything that happened. I was like, oh, that
I guess
even
it
made me
doesn't
jump.
really it doesn't get really scary until we get into that basement or whatever that was.
That was a big ass basement. I was like,
It
damn,
really was.
never seen a basement that big. But
And to me, like this film was a dramatization, a drama film about demon possession. It said, right. We have another comment. It says, right. I just don't know what the hype is about. It wasn't scary. It wasn't horror in any way. Agreed. It was a heavy drama film.
mhm. And they
And
sprinkled some. They was like, oh no, it's supposed to be a scary movie. And it was like
yes.
throw it on at the end. I was like, or not.
Well, let's talk about Monique's character.
I love Monique in this film. I loved it. I was glad
I
she.
loved it too.
It was real authentic, and I could see her motivation. I could see her
Yeah.
motivation. She's trying to get Ebony on track. I was like, you out of control. You need to get on track because something ain't right.
And at first I was like, gosh, she has such an attitude. But then I do like that there was a scene in the film where she kind of went into why she feels the way that she does. And then it wasn't right, but that is why she feels that way. And it just made me think about like caseworkers and like, case managers who like go into people's home and they already have a chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, people have to rely on these people for help, but sometimes there's some things that you just can't shake, and you try to be objective doing your job, but like I remember like when I worked in the prison system, it would be best for me not to read their charges and stuff, and typically I could work just fine with any inmate, but the ones who did things to children and like, and not even just the sexual stuff. Like there was one that used a young child as a human shield, and so
wow,
there might have definitely been one that was like
Nino Brown.
yes,
Oh wow,
literally yes.
dang.
So but yeah, that was yeah. But I think that Monique does these really raw and gritty characters really well, and I don't think he could have chosen like a better person to play this caseworker who and it was an interesting choice to make Ebony's mother white but the caseworker black, because typically in these films like
way around
back home,
yeah,
like the caseworker will be a white lady busybody coming in like, well, there's, and so in the end we have this, where the caseworker's like, yeah, I saw that shit, and it was crazy. I'm gonna advocate for you because what happened was
like it wasn't all your fault.
yeah.
But I don't
So
know. But it seemed like something was going on in the house because because she moved houses, she didn't even tell the caseworker that she was moving, and it's like, what's going on? Why are you moving without telling the caseworker? Why the caseworker got to find you? Why was the caseworker there in the first place? Yeah. So obviously she had an issue before, but she just got out because something terrible happened. It was like some wild possession stuff going on in your house.
Right. Well, from my understanding, like I think the husband, like they must have had like a pretty bad split, and the husband was trying to get custody, even though he was in Iraq, but he was trying to get full custody, and so he was like saying that the kids were neglected. And from a case management perspective, like imagine you go into this home, one, they move without telling you, you got to find them. Then you go in there, the mother has an issue with alcohol, and the kids have these bruises on them. Like there's this weird smell coming from the basement, all these flies around. Like I like from a case manager perspective, we would be like, and as a matter of fact, I was surprised that she didn't take those kids sooner than she did. And I do feel like the reason for that is because the case manager was Black. So she gave a little more leeway, with this family.
But she ain't play with them. Oh man.
Right. And it was, she treated them like she talked to them like, keeping it real. And I feel like sometimes, I feel like a lot of times Black people need like other Black people to work with them. So I think that there's a need for Black caseworkers and Black social workers and Black doctors and Black nurses and Black lawyers, because, and I'm leading up to the scene where she was talking with the nurse about, when the kids were acting out at school. And the nurse kept looking at her mother, like talking to the only other white woman in the room. And that happens a lot. People talk about that a lot, about, their issues with being ignored, overlooked. I mean, like, the infant mortality rate, like for Black women, is just, it's still bad. Like Black women die in childbirth more than anyone. So I think that was a very interesting dynamic to have the caseworker be Black, and it was like, I'm gonna do my job, but I am still on your side, and I do have a chip on my shoulder, but I can be objective when it counts.
Right. Yeah, she was firm but fair. I'll give her that. She was firm but fair.
Right. And I would be annoyed too. I don't know if I would be, like cussing at them and all, but I don't know, some people you do got to talk their language. But I would be annoyed too if you moved and I got to find you.
Yeah. When the first time we meet, I'm gonna say something because I had to go out my way to find what was going on. I had to come and find you. Had to pull up, and then you act like you don't want to let me in. Like, bro, you know what this is. Let me in so I can do what I got to do. I got a job to do. I got more people to see. You're not the only one.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because the one thing about with social services, you're not the only one on this caseload. There's plenty. So, but yeah, before we run out of time, let's talk about Ebony's character, played by the incredible Andra.
Yeah.
Who has really shown herself to be a phenomenal actress. Like she was incredible in the Billie Holiday story. I know you say you haven't watched it, but are you going to watch it?
Yeah, I'll give it a look. I'll take a look.
I think that you would enjoy it. It was a very good film, and it was an interesting perspective. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, it's the Billie Holiday story, live, sing, then die. It was like it showed the conspiracy against her versus the American government. Like, I didn't really even realize how deep it was. Like, the FBI was like really drilling hard, trying to make an example of her with, especially with the civil rights, and like they're really trying to make her like into be this drug pen, which she was not. But anyway, so there's a lot of that, and but she was incredible in that, and I think she was incredible in this film.
Yeah, she was. I think all the actors. I think all the actors were good. I'm not even.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was very well cast. It was very well directed. It was very well. The acting was top notch. If
yeah.
it was only in the movie theater, I would be like, okay, I probably wouldn't have gone to see it, and what I would have waited for it to come on Netflix anyway. But if it was in the movie theater, I probably would have been like, that looks interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I like Andra. She, I don't know, like, is she a method actor? Because her performance was just so visceral and like even in the beginning, in the slow moving parts of the film, like when she went and kicked that kid in the nuts and was like, "You tell your mama I'll rock that hoe too." I was like, Andra.
Yeah, she was really into the role, because I was like, because I knew she was a singer. I was like, oh, she's a singer, and I know she sang that Rise Up song, and I was like, oh, that's all I know about her. But then I saw her in this, I was like, okay, you might have missed your calling. You can sing as well, but you got some chops for acting.
I feel like, to me, she's one of those people that's like Rihanna. Um,
She kind
like,
of remind me of Rihanna.
I can see where you might say that. Yeah, yeah, they do kind of favor, but like, I I feel like some people singing becomes kind of a gateway for them to other things. Like, people are always in Rihanna's comments like, "When's the next album coming out? You haven't done an album in years." And I feel like maybe she'll do another one, maybe, but she's found her calling, like being a businesswoman and doing the makeup and the lingerie. Like,
Right.
she is excelling in that. And if she doesn't want to sing another note ever, she didn't have to. And it looks like she's just doing her thing. And I feel like with Andra, yeah, she had that Rise Up song and I guess a few others, but like acting, she is like soaring and she is incredible on screen. Um, so maybe that singing was her gateway into
Getting into what she really wanted to do, or her
or
passion.
just finding what she was really good at. And but and not to say she's not good at singing, because she's obviously an incredible singer too, but
Right.
yeah. um but yeah, but I think when you play someone, a character that's incredibly complex, because when Ebony got on the screen, it was not very clear if we were supposed to like her or not.
Yeah, I didn't dislike her, but I was like, damn, you kind of harsh.
Yeah,
Like when she popped the boy in the mouth and the boy started bleeding, I was like, damn.
yeah,
I've
but
been popped in the mouth before, but I ain't never been like popped in the mouth to the point where I was like leaking blood. Like, that's crazy.
she popped him very hard. It was like, okay, girl. And I think she was able to convey the scene like she did not even realize how hard she hit him, and it scared her
Mhm. Yeah.
because she was like, jumping up to try and fix his face and all. But I feel like it's hard to play a role where that's complex like that. Like, she's the, protagonist and we're supposed to be rooting for her, but she's also not very likable,
Right.
you know. But in the end, she was able to get us all to root for her.
Hmm.
And I think that's really a testament to how good of an actress she is. So um we end up sympathizing with her,
Right.
because in the beginning I was like, them kids all right. But in the end, she really did show and prove how much she loved those kids and how far she was willing to go.
Hmm.
Um, you know. So
Quick
yeah.
question for you. What do you think happened when she went in the room
When
and
who?
the kids was hiding? She was on the floor. The wall was tore up where the mural was, and the kids was in the corner, all backed up, like they were scared. Then the grandma come in, like, what the hell going on? And I was like, what do you think? Because they didn't allude to what happened. They didn't say what happened. They didn't show what happened. It was like she went in there, and then something happened, and then the grandma comes in and she sees this craziness going on. What do you think happened?
I enjoyed that so much, and I thought it was so smart to do that, because I think that's a very typical Lee Daniels thing to do. It builds suspense and drama, because in the end, to this day, we still don't know what happened or who did it. Did she, hit those kids or throw those kids or not? We don't know. And it built suspense and mystery around, like, what is going on in this house? And in the beginning, it's like you could believe maybe she did do that, but then once you sit and think about it, you're like, she's not strong enough to pick up 3 kids and throw them.
Mm-hmm.
So
we seen what happened with the son. The son wasn't having it.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, bro, you wow. Never in my life would ever be like, I'm about to push my mom down and just think it's gonna be all good. Like,
yeah.
you gotta think
there were like quite a few scenes like that where it's like things happen, things get out of control and they escalate. Like, because him pushing his mom, like you could see the immediately on his face, like,
oh no,
I didn't mean to do that, But what are your thoughts about that scene? Because I actually had that written down too.
Yeah, I was wondering what. I just it was so unclear. It made it look like you see something laying on the ground, you see the crack in the painting, and the piece of the wall fell off and everything like that. And you're like, damn, what's going on? And the kids, they are visibly terrified. But I'm like, are they terrified because they saw something, or are they terrified because mom came in and gave them the beats?
Yeah. I don't know. That was and I think they not only do we not know, but they didn't know what happened.
Right, exactly.
And I think that was pretty smart. But yeah. Lastly, let's talk about the other family scene. The initial family that was killed in the house.
Okay. All right.
Her chopping his head off and then picking him up, holding him. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
this is now a slasher movie. Okay.
It's like, what was the purpose? Like, what did she have? I couldn't see. What did she have? What did she have in her hand to cut the head smooth off like that?
Yeah, that was a little far-fetched, but it was an axe.
Oh, it was. Oh, damn. Well, that was a sharp ass axe. One cut.
Yeah, that was some precision. I was like, yeah, she had to been possessed, because dang. How you not chop his shoulder or whatever? Like, that was some precision. You sliced the head clean off.
One chop. Head.
Yeah.
Gone. Had off. To find it.
It wasn't hanging on, but it was off. And it rolled away. So yeah. That was a scene.
Yeah. I was like, okay. But they kind of ran through that. They was like, yeah, it was crazy. And she's like, I was helping that family too. And I was like, maybe you need to stop helping people.
And I would have been like, as soon as I found out, what happened, I'd be so, you here by yourself? You don't need no backup? I mean, let's see. Well, we have a comment. What do y'all think the reason was for mom always being broke, but dad being able to send the kids money? Wouldn't you make sure the whole family is taken care of? To me, it seemed like there was a bad split between the mom and the dad. So, and because he was like, remember, he was like, is your mom back drinking again? So I guess maybe she wasn't good with money, or maybe he didn't trust her. But I feel like that's a very hard position to be in, because you're like, you feel this mom is not good with money, but I feel like giving the kids money is such a difficult position to put that mom in. Like, she's struggling and you secretly giving money to the kids. That gives them a weird power dynamic over her. Like is not.
But
But
she worked. I don't
huh?
understand. But she worked. I was like, I didn't.
I couldn't understand what she did. What
Yeah,
did
she never went to work, but they was talking about her working.
there was one scene in there. There was one scene in there. This was another thing that was unclear. There was one scene in there where she was at. She must have been at a hair school,
Mhm.
and she got a phone call. That's when the kids were acting out of school,
Oh yeah,
and
that's where she worked. That was a school. I thought it was just a salon.
I thought it was a school because it seemed like they were. Something made me think it was a school because they were explaining, and then she was like, "I got to take this call," and he was like, "Now why you got somebody in the chair?"
Yeah.
I don't know, but then I also could not understand. Did she do some kind of freelance work too? Because in the beginning, she's on the phone. Like the first scene we see of her, she's on the phone, and she's like, this advance is not working. So I was like, is she an author? Like because she kept saying, y'all gave me this advance, but it's not enough. The advance is not less.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I think
know.
they were just doing stuff. They was like, we got to get this movie started somehow, some way. This
Yeah,
started with difficult times.
yeah,
Typical hard times.
but yeah, I do feel like I don't know. It was very weird for somebody that's in the military to not be paying alimony, but
But they didn't even say he was in the military. I thought he was contract. I thought he might have had a
I don't know.
contract and was just over in Afghanistan because that's a lot of people do that. They take a contract, they
Right.
have a bunch of money. I mean, it's like it's big money to go over there and do whatever security, whatever they need you to do over there, and that's what I thought he was doing. But if he was in the military, then I just don't know because you never see him. You don't even see a picture of him.
Right. And then it was like, and then I imagine that it must have been a heated split because, and what makes me believe that is because in the end, it's there. She's like, me and your dad might try to work things out, and it was like that's the typical of a heated split. It'd be like anger and fire, but it'd be some love still there. So and then I was like, that came out of nowhere. Like y'all gonna try to work things.
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess because she found Jesus. So you find Jesus, everything's all right.
I guess. Yeah. Well, yeah, but okay. Yeah, that I don't know. Unclear. Sorry, commenter. Unclear. We do not know. But yeah, it would ideally. Yeah, he should make sure the whole family is taken care of. But who knows?
I think he thought that maybe the son would be able to handle because he saved the money. It wasn't like he was out splurging, buying stuff, doing whatever. He was basically like he had the money. Oh, you need money to take care of this guy that needs to take the cat out of the basement. I got you.
Yeah, but what an incredible burden to put on a child, like to have trust that they will take care of things while you're gone. I don't
Exactly.
know. I don't know. The family, it seemed like the only family dynamic that the filmmaker paid attention to try to explain was between the mom and the daughter. And it was like, y'all don't pay attention to other stuff. Pay attention to this here, the mom and the daughter. So I don't know. But yeah. So well, do we have any other
Any other
things?
comments? Any other? I don't know. It's something about this film rubbed me the wrong way after I saw the documentary. I was like, everything was just so different. I'm like, I understand you want to tell a different story, but just you could have told this story. This could have been because you changed the names of everybody that was there. You changed everything that was going on. The race of the grandma, because the grandma wasn't all, but the grandma wasn't white, and the grandma didn't die. The grandma was fine, and the mom was. The kids were a lot younger in
Yeah.
real life than they were in the film.
I did not see the documentary, but I read the Wikipedia page as far
Mm.
as the like origin story or whatever. But yeah, they did take a lot of liberties, which I actually understand. I mean, that happens, but
But to
Um,
that extent, it's like now it's
but
like
it wasn't supposed to be like a biopic. It was just like
not a biopic, but I mean, if you're gonna
inspired
do
by true events.
inspired by true events, like get get in the same lane. Like y'all was like in a whole nother state. Like
Well,
I was telling the story, I was
I
like,
guess
I
there
would
you
look at
have
that story. I'd be like, I'm pretty sure the lady was looking at it like, that's an interesting story. I wonder what they talking about. And it was like inspired by true events. Wait a minute, I wasn't no alcoholic. I ain't beat my kids.
but they did say that like after they talked to the landlord, they talked to the school district, and they were saying like the kids were missing school, like there was a lot of truancy. And when they were in school, there were problems. And she explained all the truancy away with saying, "Hey, it's a demon in the house.
He was saying no school today.
What you want me to do?"
Yeah.
So, and then like the landlord also said that, yeah, they were very behind on rent and bills. So it seemed like, I guess either you could look at it different ways. Like either this demon was really upending their life, or their life was upended, and she tried to explain it with,
With
"Hey,
the demons in here. Can't pay no rent.
what
Can't
you
do nothing.
expect?"
Like, give us a demon-free house and we give you your rent. Like,
Exactly. Y'all supposed to have exterminators here. Y'all can't get rid of demons. Yeah.
nope.
So that is a very important question. Is your landlord responsible for the removal of all pests, including demons?
No, they barely be like, man, like who broke the refrigerator? They don't even want to fix that. They don't want to fix stuff that's like the faucet is leaking. They like, so if you be like, there's a demon in the house, they gonna be like,
No.
rent is due on the first.
Yeah. Is your landlord responsible for all pest removal, including ghosts as well? Ghosts, demons, and other naughty spirits, and pesky entities. See, this is a lesson, y'all. Read over your rental agreements, okay? And find out what your landlord is really responsible for.
No one reads that stuff. No one.
Yeah. So yes, it needed not just extermination, but also exorcisms. Okay, your landlord need to be responsible for all that. Yeah. So let's move into best worst weirdest. Is it time for best worst weirdest?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, best worst weirdest. That's where we the part of our episode where we share the best part of the film, the worst part of the film, and the weirdest part. Terrell, show them how it's done.
All right, here we go. First, the best part of the film, I enjoyed the acting. I did enjoy the drama. If this was just a drama, I would have been like, this is a good movie. Let's see. The worst part of the film was they didn't explain enough. It wasn't they didn't dedicate enough time to the horror for this to be considered a horror film.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. Like it wasn't enough. It was really drawn out with the drama, but then when it came time for the horror element, it was like, y'all hurry up and get rid of this demon so we can get up out of here. And then they just kept going on with their life. And the weirdest part of this film was Omar Epps and Glenn Close. That was so weird to me. I can't imagine Omar Epps and Glenn Close having any kind of chemistry or any kind of interaction outside of we're both at the Oscars, but we're not sitting at the same table.
Bro, bro.
It was so weird. And he was like after her hard. I'm like, lady is almost 80 years old.
That was very strange. And I was like, okay, I mean, look, I ain't here to yuck nobody's yum. If that's your thing, fine. But why who is managing Omar Epps? Because he was not necessary for that role.
No. I think he just wanted to do that. It's a job. I'll take it. Some people just be like, it's a job. I'll take it. I ain't mad. Hey.
Honestly, any random black man could have done that role. And it was like, because when I saw Omar Epps, I was like, okay, he gonna have something to do with this. And he was such a throwaway character. That was such a
would have been the father, I would have been like, okay.
Huh?
If he would have been the father, I would have been like, okay, that's cool.
Thank you. That's how it should have been. Like, not him, but like him playing the strange husband or whatever.
Yeah.
That would have been a dope role. And that would have been more character development. But that was such a throwaway role. I was like, okay, we got Omar Epps in this movie. I know they're going to use him for something. And it was just like, the credits were rolling. And I was still like, Omar? Where?
I guess he was like, after his boo thing died, he was like,
yeah, it was so unnecessary. I felt it was also unnecessary to have Tasha Smith in there.
That was a waste.
And I was like, did he pay these big paychecks for these little throwaway roles? That was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Any black woman could have done that.
Black woman. Any black woman could have.
Really? Yeah. Or how dope would it have been to, I don't know if they would have done it because, black gospel singers be a little weird, but it would have been super dope to have somebody like Yolanda Adams or Vicky Winers or somebody like play that role.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been very dope.
I think Yolanda Adams would have did it.
Yeah, maybe so. But
it's like I know Yolanda, like we go way back. She would have did it. Just
yeah, I know you and Yo-Yo go way back. But I didn't think Tasha Smith was necessary for that. Omar Epps was not necessary for his role. That was just very weird.
I think they just wanted to have.
And I was like, is he trying to throw us off?
Yeah, and because I thought when they was like, oh, Tasha Smith, because when I'm looking at who's in the film, I'm like, okay, I know them, I know her, I know him.
Yeah.
And then when I was like, okay, I'm waiting for them, and then when you see Tasha Smith, you're okay, yeah, they gonna be going to this church a lot, and you only saw her one other time, and that was it.
It was very, very weird. But yeah, but anyway, but my best worst weird is I would say the best. My best is the same as your best. Like the acting was incredible. Like, and a round of applause for that little boy.
Mm-hmm.
He was downright scary.
Yeah,
that was only matter of fact, to answer your question earlier, that was the only scary part of the movie. That little boy.
I think little kids just be in places you don't expect them to be and doing stuff. You're like, what you doing over there?
Kids kind of scare me anyway. Like they in being horror movies because you kids, they unpredictable.
Exactly.
So, and him throwing that shit at the teacher. that was a scene. That was a lot.
Every time because 23 times. Every time I see it, I'm like,
you went there, buddy. What? Mr. Daniels, you really took us down through it.
I'm sorry. If I'm a teacher, I got to kick your kid in the chest. He's not about to throw shit on me.
I don't know if it comes from like years of working in a prison, but if somebody is actively shitting on the floor or wherever, get out of the way because you don't know what's finna happen.
I got to lose my job. I got to lose it.
Yeah, get out of the way because
no, I don't want that. That's not what I came to work for.
And she got a full frontal in the face with her mouth open.
It's open, so you know it's in the mouth.
Yeah, yeah, that was a lot. But so yeah, but so that was the best, and the little boy, his acting, like, and some of the faces he was doing, and he was able to actively play someone possessed. Like that was he did an outstanding job too. So that was the best. Though worst was just, like I said, having these stars play these throwaway roles. That was like, that really threw me off because it made me, and I guess maybe that's the testament to a good casting. Like it made me feel like something else was coming. I was like, oh, Tasha Smith, of course she gonna be more involved. Omar Epps, of course he gonna have something to do with it. And then at the end, it was like the credits rolling. I'm still waiting for the breakout Omar Epps scene and Tasha Smith scene. It was like, okay, well, all right then.
You show up to the church and be like, "Yeah, I got my eyes on you now, girl."
Wait a minute, this movie took another interesting turn. So, and the weirdest would be just all that slow moving momentum in the beginning. And I know that is typical because usually Lee Daniel films are pretty long, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know The Butler was long as hell.
Yeah, that's probably why I only watched it once.
Yeah, and Precious was pretty long. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Butler was 132 minutes. So what is that? 2 hours and 12 minutes? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and I was like, gosh, you don't really need all that in a horror film, but okay. The United States versus Billie Holiday, 130 minutes. Like all his movies are that length.
Pretty long.
And yeah, Precious 110 minutes, so just shy of 2 hours. But yeah, so like I said, horror movies is usually that tight hour and 30,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe this movie should be categorized as a cross genre, a drama. What is it? What is
It's an what do they call it?
Supernatural horror film. No. It is a dramor.
Dramor.
Yes. And say, we have a comment. There was a scene where she was kind of at work. Oh, this is going back to what we were talking about, what she did. I think it was a salon because her boss was like, there's a customer seated on a chair. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I think you was like, she's in school. I was like, where's school?
I didn't.
Because they were so close together. I think was that the thing.
Something made me feel like she was in school because it felt like he was explaining something to her.
I think he was explaining, hey, you can't be on the phone at work.
I mean, before that scene. Now I want to find it and figure out. But yeah, so but yeah, the weirdest was that slow building momentum, which works in drama, but just doesn't in horror.
No,
it's not for me, But yeah, so it's happy hour. Who are you having a drink with?
I am not having a drink with. Let me see. Who am I having a drink with? I'm having a drink with Omar Epps. I'm like, bro, what you was doing?
Bro, I was gonna say the same person because I need to know. Like,
what was your motivation?
Yeah. What are we doing here? Because. Why? So yeah, that's who I'm okay. I found the scene. I'm sorry, I got to know.
Really, you gonna watch the scene right now?
Oh.
Sorry, I have to take this.
It was okay. So
okay, he was saving that money to move out. He was saving the boy, the oldest.
Sorry, I have to take this.
That's why.
You gotta climb and make sure you don't see me. I have 3 kids and a sick mom and dog.
Yeah, it must. Okay. I must assume that she was at a school because they had all those coat jackets on.
Oh, I think that's just what they think. That was just their uniform. I mean, just what they wore to. Like barbers wear the smocks. I think they were just wearing for the salon.
I don't know. A million questions that need a million answers. I don't know. But
I'm trying to figure out where he was. Like he was saving money to move out, and I was like, he did a really good job of saving. Because you give kids money nowadays, they'd be like, I'm buying everything.
I mean, slow down. Trauma make you grow up real quick, and he wanted to get up out of there because she was not very. And he told her every way he could that she was a shitty mom. So, yeah.
To push your own mama down. He was already possessed.
Yeah.
In my book, he was already possessed. You push your mama down. You
Yes.
lost your mind.
And I think, yeah, because it shocked even him. So, did we any other scenes we need to?
Nah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and get on out of here. It's late.
Well, what you binging this?
Man, let me see. What am I watching? I don't think I've been watching anything really. I'm waiting on From to come back.
Oh yeah, it comes back on the 20th or
I'm
the
waiting
22nd. One of those.
Abbott Elementary to come back. But I did watch Georgia Southern win, beat South Carolina State last night. Go Southern.
Okay.
A real
They playing in
GSU.
my backyard, I wouldn't know.
They do play in your backyard.
Well, y'all keep it down back there. I got neighbors. So, but I'm rewatching Psych.
Oh yeah, you were. Oh, you still watching it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
How many seasons of Psych was there?
8 seasons.
8. I was gonna say 5. It's 8.
I thought it was 5, and then it kept going. I was wait a minute, and but yeah, it's 8 seasons, and then when that ends, I'm gonna watch Interview with the Vampire, and then I'll be ready for From. But I don't know. Does From come out one episode at a time?
Yes.
Oh well, then nope. I won't be watching it till probably the new year.
Really?
I am spoiled. Like
I don't know. I gotta see. I gotta keep up because I go on YouTube and I watch the little breakdown videos, like what's really going on in the.
I'm spoiled. I got to. It's either binge or nothing. Binge or bust, nigga. So that I just can't. I can't. So that whole waiting week to week, I lose interest. Like I don't know, the way that we receive media now has really made us like dumb as people, because I remember, like, if you watch the Cosby Show, right? Those episodes, especially the early ones, were real bland and boring. It was a good show, now, don't get me wrong. But I remember one episode was like, oh, Rudy's goldfish died. Let's have a funeral. And that was it. And then that kept us engaged enough to go to the next week. Now it could be like explosions and murders and stuff. And by the next day, I'm like, I don't even remember what happened in the show. And then next week, I can't. My attention span.
Can't.
And then I'll forget, and I don't know. I either got to binge it or not.
But it's got to be like a show I'm really, really into. Like I really, really gotta like your show to be like I'll watch it, and then because like Abbott Elementary, I really, really like it, but I'll let those build up.
Yeah.
I get like 4, 5 of those, and then I'll be like, okay, let me watch it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, when is the last show that I just watched week to week? Like, I can't even remember. Because even shows I really, really like, I'll be like, I'm gonna let that build up just a few weeks. I will at least do maybe like 3 or 4 weeks at a time, and then I'll be like, that wasn't enough. So, but yeah. But yeah, that's it.
What you been? What you been watching? Psych.
Yeah. I don't know. I find a strange comfort in rewatching old shows, honey. I love it.
Such like your mom. Anyway.
Ooh, that was some fighting words. Now, if you catch me watching The Waltons and Little House on the Prairie and Everybody Loves Raymond, I done sure enough lost my mind. But that's our show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. So we had a great time discussing the Deliverance, and we hope you enjoy listening to our thoughts and insights. And if you want to know more about Sips and Scripts, you can head over to our website, sipsandscriptspodcast.com, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Sips and Scripts Podcast. We're both on both Instagram and Facebook. So we would love to hear from you, whether it's to suggest a film that you want us to talk about, share your thoughts on today's episodes. We're still open to those thoughts. Or just to say, hey, drop us a DM on social media. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye. Thank you for joining us.
Man.